Hey, what is up, guys? And welcome back to another Magic the Gathering online league. We're back with Basking Broodscale on the play for game 1. So 4 hits on Temple for a K Command X2, and then an additional 11, so 15. I'll take an 11 Rumble as well, so 18 hits. I mean, 18 hits ain't bad. It's roughly 33%. Yeah, we'll keep it. That's per draw. Worst comes to worst, we have a K Command X1, so it's not the end of the world. Right now I'm missing 2 halves of our engine, but we do have 2 payoffs. And if one of these payoffs can find one, if not both halves of the engine, that would be pretty freaking good. We'll hold on the off chance it's relevant. And passing and draw. Prismatic Vista. Passing. And hold. Just a forest. Cavern Soul's name Eldrazi. Oh. Is it Broodscale? Malevolent Rumble. Might be Broodscale v Broodscale. It is. Okay, well these K commands just got better. Choose Blade of the Blood Chief. To pause on end step. Fetch. Prismatic Vista. For our forest. And draw. Okay. You know, there's too much of a good thing sometimes. We'll play a waste. And we have a K command, X equals 2. We'll hold. Ancient Stirrings. So they have one half of their engine. And there's a grove. Plays the grove. Malevolent Rumble. And there's a Basking Broodscale. I imagine they take the Basking Broodscale. Chooses Broodscale. End step. K command X equals 2. And done. Bottom draw. Delighted Halfling. Delighted Halfling. So we can do K command X equals 2 twice with our remaining K commands. I'll play a Delighted Halfling. And we'll hold the K command. We want both just in case they have multiple Broodscale. They don't try and fire it off. We'll go K command X equals 4. And at this point, it's just trying to see who can resolve first. They're on Gruul. I'm on Mono Green. So a bit of a mirror match. Though pretty different mana bases. Red Eldrazi. That would tell me this is a Writhing Chrysalis. Man, that's all you do. I'm fine with that. Yep, that resolves. That still does give them a K command X equals 2 that we do need to be mindful of. K command X equals 4. And done. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, that looks pretty good to me. So, bottom Ballista, bottom Devourer, top and draw. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So in that case, we are casting Emrakul. I do want to hold up a green source for Delighted Halfling, I think. It is an Emrakul. Cast Delighted Halfling. And our turn, comrade. We know they have the blade. They have Flesh Rakers. And Temple. Well, that is awkward, isn't it? I was really hoping for something else to work with. So what can we do, if anything? I don't think we can actually do anything is the problem. We can win the game for them, because that's what it's looking like right now. We can slam the Writhing Chris into Emrakul. We can sack the tokens, but they have Temple, Blade, double Broodscale. Damn. That's kind of rough. I'll go to combat and slam the Chrysalis into Emrakul. I will sack the spawns. I guess what I can do here is, can I cast the Basking Broodscale and Basking Broodscale and make the spawn so they can't adapt? Would that work? Because otherwise next turn they need 2, 4, 5, 6. They have the 6 that they need. But if I adapt, no, the issue is that they can just Flesh Raker cast Blade then, right? So I don't think I have an out. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think I do. Because, yeah, if I play Broodscale, they just go Flesh Raker, Blade, equip, do their thing. So I just pass like this then. I guess I should have just held the K command instead of playing the Emrakul. They play the Temp. They play the Broodscale. They play the Blade. They equip the Blade. They adapt the Broodscale. Yep. Yeah, that Temple kind of solidified it. They play the Blade. They equip the Blade. And that's that. Yep, you got it. Damn. So this is Basking Broodscale. Lost for game 1. Draw a card. No. If I would have drawn, what, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 4, 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, we would have been close, but we wouldn't have had the win. Yeah. Alright, well. I think that they unfortunately just had the better hand by comparison. So we want to bring in Dismember. We can cut a gemstone. We can cut an All is Dust. Yeah, All is Dust is the first to go out of the 7 mana value spells. I wonder if Thief of Existence would be valuable, as it can hit a Blade of the Bloodsheaf. Disruptor Flute can also turn off the ability to equip Blade, which is something that could be of value. Yeah, I'd rather be proactive than reactive, I think. So cut a Dust. And then let's cut a Flesh Rake, Ballista, and run it back like this. All right. Yeah, I feel like that was the right thing to do. Like, we needed to do something at some point. Flesh Rake, Delighted Halfling. Yeah, we'll go for it. Draw. Or rather, main. Prismatic Vista, fetch. Forest. Halfling, pass. And pass. Forest. Blade. Draw. I kind of want to thin here, to be honest. So we're going to go Prismatic Vista. Fetch. Waste. Flesh Rake. Pass. And pass. Well, I know they can't win here because they don't play Lab, but a Broodscale will be a problem. No Broodscale, but there's an Emrakul. Imagine they take a land, though. There's a Grove. And draw. Ballista. So in that case, I will start with Flesh Rake. Trigger Flesh Rake. Always yield. Always yield. ETB. Always yield. Ballista. Done. I do think I need to ping the spawn because if they have 4 mana, I guess even if they have 3 mana plus spawn, we do have to deal with that. So I'm going to ping the spawn now. Blade, trigger, ballista, blade, combat. Down to 10, we'll pass. Saga trigger. Yeah, because if they specifically had Broodscale, they would have won. They would have been able to go Broodscale into equip, sack spawn, go off. There's the Grove. Haywire Mite. Passing. Draw. Let's start with combat. They block. They'll gain 2 up to 12. Triggers. Trigger Broodscale. Did I miss a line? No, this should have been instead of... No, I was correct. I still have to do that. And then this pushes them up to 4. Adapt. Nature's Claim? Ugh. I mean, at least they don't have the blade. Yes. They didn't need to do that, right? That was only 2 damage. Interesting. I mean, they get a blade back here. Well, 3 mana, potentially 4. But it costs them 2, 4, 5. So they won't have enough mana to go Basking Broodscale Blade. Springleaf Drum can push up to 5, but they don't have the blade. Now the blade will cost 6, or at least the full combo costs 6. So I don't foresee them having a way out here. We draw into 1 colorless permanent, we should just win. Kinda wish we had something to make these spawns more useful. Double green colorless K command? Maybe. K command X2, Broodscale down, 2 blockers. Draw. Halfling doesn't cut it. Unfortunate as it is. Combat. I mean, they have to block because they fear whatever we drew into. We're not showing it them right away. So they have to block the 2 Flesh Rakers. I don't think that's an option. Not doing so would be a huge gamble. Really? That's a gutsy move, because if this was a colorless permanent, they would have lost. We'll hold the lab back, no reason to play it. We'll pass in full. They do have 4, 5 mana now. So if they have 1 more land, they do have the 6 for the Broodscale into Blade. Nope, they messed up. They need to tap their Viseju first, because state-based actions. Legend rule. 4, 5. That would have been 6. And opponent concedes. Yeah, so I think they did have it. I think they had it and they messed up. Alright. Oh, we'll go to game 3. I do want my gemstone back, so I will cut an Agatha Soul Cauldron and run it back. Galarian Flesh Rakers for the win. In those dirtling mid-range games, the Flesh Rakers can do a lot of good work. On the draw for game 2, we have 1/2 our engine, interaction, and an Emrakul, but we are short on lands, which kind of sucks. I will keep it, though. Draw. Grove. They shouldn't, I was about to say, they shouldn't have any turn 1 plays, but I guess they have Ancient Stirrings, yeah. Ancient Stirrings is their turn 1. In comparison, Delight Halfling is my turn 1. Like I said, I have 1/2 of the engine. And we have a pseudo payoff. It isn't like a game-winning play, but still pretty good if you can turn it out on turn 3. Okay, the Flesh Rake changes things. That is a lethal payoff. There's the halfling. And we pass. So all I need now is the other half of the engine. There's Broodscale. We draw. I'd like a land, please. We do find a land. We can get rid of the Broodscale, so that's not an issue. I will Prismatic Vista first. I'm gonna grab a waste or a forest. I'm going to go for a waste. And rumble. I'll grab a temple. And I'm going to dismember the Broodscale now. I want to make sure I target the Broodscale, not my own halfling for a second there. Goodbye, Broodscale. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We could go Temple, Flesh Rake, Broodscale. That might not be a bad idea. 5 cards left in hand. 3. Is that the Flesh Rake? There's no reason for them to have run out the Broodscale unless they had the blade in hand, right? K command. Rude, but that's why I did take the waste. That is specifically why I did that. Draw. Prismatic Vista. So, Flesh Rake. Broodscale, always yield. Always yield. We'll pass. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 short of the Emrakul. Three. Flesh Rake. Blade. Soul Guide. That's fine. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They'll take... I mean, either Emrakul or Rumble, yeah. Emrakul is fine. They're thinking whether or not they should empty my yard, I imagine. But I don't think they need to right away. Because we'll go Vista, fire off Rumble. I guess we can just go to Forest instead. They should have one more Forest. So yeah, we'll thin. Just confirming 1, 2. No Forest there. So yeah, we'll go Prismatic Vista. Fetch. For the last Forest. Rumble. Ugin. Confirming 3. So we'll have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, we'll be short, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So in that case, I'll go Ugin. I was hoping for something a little bit more substantive. Trigger 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. I will see if maybe they mess up. Doubtful, but you never know. They want to trade Flesh Rake for Flesh Rake. I'll take it. I will... Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to adapt. Always yield. Always yes. Always yield. This way we feign that we have a K Command X2 in hand. There's a temp. I mean, if they have the Blade and Broodscale, they win if they have a payoff. Well, actually, the Flesh Rake is the payoff. Never mind. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I guess that would have been 13, admittedly, if I had not sacked the spawn, but I felt like I can't just put shields down and give them the go-ahead. I need to strategically demonstrate that I have the possibility of exiling their Broodscale if in the instance they cast it. And me specifically holding up the cake or the Eldrazi Temple does demonstrate that. Versus just tapping it out, right? So they have to be thinking we have a K Command X2 on hold. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we're short one. Trying to think if there's a way for me to represent that without having to sack the spawn, but I don't think there was. Other than just, not adapting the Broodscale, I suppose. But I wanted to press the advantage as much as possible here. The longer we give them, the longer, or the more time that they have a chance to find a combo. I mean, the same thing goes for me. There's Ballista. Trigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Son of a bitch. So they have a Emrakul in hand. Yeah. That's exactly what's about to happen. Ugh. So I can't do anything about that is the problem. I'll pause on end step. This means we're gonna have to sacrifice our spawns. Means no Ugin. Oh, we'll block. And then sack. And then pass. And pass. So 4, I mean, they can just clear my yard now that they know about Emrakul, right? And that's lethal on board as well. So I need a way. I don't think there is a way. I'm trying to think. Because if they just swing Broodscale into Emrakul, it means that even if I draw into the Blade, I can't cast Emrakul or Ugin. If they 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I'm still 3 short on the Emrakul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 2 short on Ugin. So I mean the best thing that they can do here at this another Ugin. The best thing they can do here is slam the Basking Broodscale into Emrakul and call it a day. Because that stops me from doing anything. Actually, now that I've adapted as well, maybe I shouldn't have adapted. Because I do, if they don't slam the Basking Broodscale into the Emrakul and we draw into the Blade, we won't be able to do anything with it, right? Yeah, I should not have adapted. That is a good point. But it won't matter since they're going to slam the Basking Broodscale into the Emrakul regardless. So Basking Broodscale's down. It will add a type to Yard. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Still too short. Excuse me. And draw. Fascinating. Rumble. I don't think that does anything, does it? We already have a creature in Yard. We already have lands in Yard. We can take the lab. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Still too short. Yeah. If we had hit some more types, because I think at most I can hit is 7. If we had hit 7 types, then we could have done more. Trigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we whiff. And I'll concede. GG's. I mean, it's a close match, so it is what it is. All right. Well, with that said, we'll be back for match number 2. All right. And we're back for match 2 on the draw for game 1. We have payoffs, but we don't have any parts of the engine, but we have ways to find it. I'll keep it. Reveal and pass. I'm in danger. So I really do need to prioritize like turn 2, turn 3 wins here. Devour, All is Dust, K command, halfling. I'm gonna draw fresh there. Draw. Oof. Whiffing across the board. Forest. We have one more forest, so we can Prismatic Vista to thin next turn. We'll pass and pass. We now need to draw into one half of the engine. I mean, I haven't seen an Amulet effect yet, so we're not in the water just yet, but the Saga's staring us down. We'll go Prismatic Vista for a... Do you want to go for that, a forest? Or a waste? Still have the waste in there. Maybe go for the waste since we have a second forest in hand. That might be a bad idea in case we draw into a K command. And we fire off the rumble and search for one of our two parts of our engine. Ideally, in an ideal world, we hit one half of our engine, which is 8 hits off the top here. There's the Shifting Woodland. Do you have a Spelunking? You do. So that is one Amulet effect on board. I am tempted in that case to make sure we keep an Agatha Soul Cauldron on board, as it would make things more difficult with the Aftermath Analyst line. So there is some thought to doing that. So make Growth Chamber, tap 2, bounce, and oh, they're gonna have 2 Amulet effects next turn. That's 7 mana we're looking at on their next turn. That's a problem. Draw. Well, good thing we're going for that waste, because we don't got no more forest. Waste. Rumble. There's the Blade of the Blood Chief. So we need how much mana? We need 4. 2 to cast the Broodscale, 1 to cast the Blade, 1 to equip, Ballista for 0, generate mana, Agatha Soul Cauldron. I think in that case we do cast the Agatha Soul Cauldron to cut off the Aftermath Analyst line, and we'll pass. There's a Saga trigger. It also does allow us to potentially go after like a Lotus Field if that gets put in grave. So there's a few different things that we can hit with the Agatha Soul Cauldron. So it will mean that they might need to go after Soul Cauldron with a Seiju. It's 2 types in Yard for Delirium. And I'm not liking my odds. Right now I have 4 hits off the top. Admittedly, we're at 42. So it's like a 1 in 12. And a little bit less, more like 1 in 10. So a 10% chance off the top per draw. Triggers resolve. Triggers resolve. And that is 7 mana. Pick up the Simic Growth Chamber. Do you have the Primeval Titan? You do. Holds a blue. No, holds a colorless because they're going to go for the Mirror Pool. Yep. Trigger. So imagine Mirror Pool plus Lotus Field. Excuse me. The problem is, since they have 2 Amulet of Vigors, even 1 Lotus Field is enough for them to go through the Aftermath Analyst combo. And if they have enough mana to target the Aftermath Analyst in the grave, when we activate the Agatha Soul Cauldron, that will also present an issue. I mean, let's see how they navigate the line before we concede. But they should, if they are a competent pilot, have the win. Because all they do here is they go through the same line as normal. Yep. Untap the Mirror Pool. And then before Lotus Field resolves, you'll copy the Titan. Yep. So now you can, if you're going for the Aftermath Analyst line, go Bounce Land T West. That's 4. 6, you'll have 9. T-West down to 6, which will give Aftermath. Now we're going for another Titan with the Echoing Depths. Yes. And I guess I could have... Can I have interacted with that? Entered tapped. So I would have had to have seen that line before they selected. It's not when it enters the battlefield, target, Echoing Deeps becomes target land in target graveyard. As it comes in as. So I would have to have cut off that line before that. Let's make another Titan. Okay, do we go for Bounce Land T-West this time? But actually, Bounce Land T-West doesn't get... Oh no, you still have Amulet triggers for Lotus. Oh, you still had an Amulet trigger for the Echoing Depths. I mean, 1 mana shouldn't matter here. 2, 5, 5, 7, or sorry, 5, 9, 11. Yeah, it should still be fine, because now, yeah, they go Bounce Land T-West. T-West Pact Aftermath Analyst. Yeah, I mean, they should still have it. Bounce the T-West. So they're at 7, up to 10, 10 down to 7. Okay, this actually presents a unique window for me. Sacrifice field. Yep. And then sacrifice the 2 bounce lands. Yes. There's T-West. Summoner's Pact. Pact for Aftermath Analyst. You play the Analyst. Yes. You mill. The only problem is I think they might be able to just haste the Titans. So at this point, we can activate Agatha's Soul Cauldron. We can't go after the Lotus Field because they have 2 Amulet effects, so that's off the table. If they only had 1, then going after Lotus Field would actually be a play, but we don't. We could go after the Aftermath Analyst. That gives them still a ton of mana, but they can't go through the infinite combo. So we'll just make it more complicated for them. Yep. And we'll pass in full. At that point, the window has expired. We let them go forth. Yeah, I mean, what they can do now is if they do run Lumra, which not a lot do, they can go through the Lumra line instead. But what's likely to happen is instead they're going to make another copy of Titan. And with Titan, they should be able to go Hainweir Battlements Vesuva. And between Hainweir Battlements Vesuva and the Lotus Fields generating red, they should then be able to haste all 3 Titans for lethal on turn 3. Now, that would be the line that I go for at this point in time. Let's see if that's what they do. Opponent's just tapping all the things. Okay, there's the red sources. I was getting a bit worried for them if they had not tapped for enough red. Because, yeah, like I said, all they should need to do now is untap the Mirror Pool, make a Titan, Vesuva, Hainweir, done. You have one more. Oh, no, they're just going to go for it now. Okay. Yep. So, Vesuva, Hainweir. And Vesuva will target Hainweir. Actually, is it as it comes in? Because I guess then they can't. They'd only be able to... What'd they grab? There's the Hainweir. Oh, hold up. Why did it come and play untapped? They must have had it come to play untapped because of Spelunking, which now means that they can only haste a Titan. So they messed up somewhere. And keep in mind, they still have to pay for Pact next turn. Did they play 2 packs? Or 1 pact? Just 1 pact, right? Not 2 pack. So yeah, you haste a Titan. But yeah, they messed up. I think at most they should have, at least they should have been able to haste 2. I forget if Vesuva would have worked in this instance, but I don't think so. Like I said, at the very least I made this more complicated for them. We had the blade, so I mean, if we draw into the Broodscale, we win. Can you do anything with the, what, 17, 22, 22 mana that you have available? They have enough to pay for the Pact. Scape Shift. Okay. What are we doing here, friend? Okay, so there's Vesuva. They can copy 2 more. That was a little bit out of left field, but it does. Opponent, you keep on clicking the wrong buttons. They made it so that it came into play untapped by Spelunking again, and not by Amulet Vigor. And this is why I do not concede, because it's clear that opponent isn't 1000% familiar with the deck. So we're going to take 12. We're going to be down to 6. What they should be grabbing here is probably Bounce Land, Boseiju, Bounce Land, Boseiju. That way they can destroy the Soul Cauldron. I guess they can't target the Waste, I don't think. Here's Boseiju. How does a Boseiju read? Non-basic land. It is a basic land. So they can at least get rid of the Aggie Soul Cauldron. So I guess Otawara would work here. Bounce land Otawara. Returns Vesuva to hand. I return Vesuva to hand. Alright. And Hainweir Battlements too. Alright. This is it. Do we have the Broodscale? I have nothing, right? There's nothing I can do here. No, I don't think so. Alright, we'll concede. No reason to belabor the point. We do not have a winning line. Alrighty. Well, let's go to sideboard for game 2. Thief of Existence is relevant. It can get rid of Spelunking or Amulet Vigor. Dismember doesn't do much. Disruptive Flute can delay Titan or delay, or even stop the Aftermath Analyst, actually. That's a thought. At the very least, we do want the Thief. Cut the Gemstone. I think we cut an All Is Dust, because, like, really it only hits the Spelunking. Do we want the Flute? That's my question. It's not a bad idea, making things more expensive. Or just stopping the combo in general, but it does make... I think we just need to be a bit hasty, so you know what? I'm just going to leave it at the Thief. And that way we can get rid of Spelunking and... whatchamacallit? Amulet Vigor. And try and just race them, basically. Try and get either turn 2 or turn 3 wins. We might have to mulligan a bit more aggressively than I normally would. Yeah, that would be my immediate thought. Imagine opponent will bring in Fire Spout to try and sweep board. I don't know if Titan still runs Dismember in the side, but if they do, I imagine some number of Dismember. Not sure anything else after that, though. Fire Spout would be a definite, though, I think. On the play for game 2, we mulligan. And we have one half the engine and a way to dig. I will keep. Do we drop the Agatha Soul Cauldron or the Thief? Emrakul's tempting to pitch as well. The thing is, if we were to rumble over, let's say, Walking Ballista, that would be huge. If we don't, and we find no other payoffs, we'd want that Emrakul. So I'm going to go pitch the Thief. Go Grove. Cast Blade. Pass. And pass. So we have 4 hits in the way of Broodscale. GSC for Dryad Arbor. Okay. Draw. Hello. I mean, I think I just cast the Broodscale here, right? And then we rumble next turn. I'm trying to think here. What's the right move? Yeah, I think we just cast the Broodscale. Because the alternative is what? We rumble, we get a token, we find a land, we equip, or we cast, we equip, and then go off. So maybe the rumble's better as it doesn't leave our Broodscale vulnerable? Maybe. Alternatively, if you play the Broodscale, and I think we play the Broodscale and pass. We're at the very least looking at a turn 3 Emrakul. If we get lucky with what we hit off of Rumble, we could be looking at a turn 3 kill. There's Spelunking. Bounce Land Beseiju hit Blade would be rough. Vesuva. Forest. Okay. Amulet. That's fine. Draw. Okay. So, in that case, I will equip. I will Malevolent Rumble. I will grab another Broodscale, I suppose. I will trigger. Always yield. Always yes. Always yield. Actually, this is just the game, because, yeah, actually, we played that correctly, because Broodscale is now infinitely big. And we can just attack in for lethal. Right. And opponent concedes. Yeah, we were right to cast Broodscale there because that guaranteed us the ability to attack in. Yep, okay, cool. So we gotta win for game 2. We do want Gemstone back in, so I will cut, I think, an Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I think I want my payoffs here. Let's run it back. Alright, question of the day. Can we win against Amulet Titan in game 3? This does not look like a winning hand to me. I will mulligan. Huh. This intrigues me a bit. I am going to keep. The question is what I pitch. Because we want to go turn 1, Flesh Rake. Ideally into a turn 2, Flesh Rake. I'll pitch the Rumble. Gemstone. Exile. Pass. Because double Flesh Rake, especially this quick, can definitely get us somewhere. We just need the top deck right is the thing. GSC for 0 for Dryad Arbor again. Yes, that resolves. Draw. Oh, the Holy Trinity? Let's see if we can make it work. Flesh Rake. Pass. And pass. If I can draw into... Okay, if we draw into a temple, we're going somewhere. Oof. That's fine. We're no longer trying to kill you the normal way, friend. I'll tell you that. Flesh Rake. Always yield. Always yield. So we could go Blade. Yeah, we'll go Blade. And then pass. And pass. Because there is a genuine thought to eventually Allah's dusting here. Urza Saga. Trigger. Is that a Spelunking? That is a Spelunking. Okay. I mean, we are getting to a dangerous spot. Simic Growth Chamber can pick up... I don't know. Simic Growth Chamber? Currently have access to 2, 3, 4, 5... Draw. E10. triggers. Okay, well, we're in an interesting position now. I'm going to pass. Let's see what they have in those last 4 cards, because we do have an All's Dust next turn, which will allow us to kill them. So we have lethal on 4. Saga trigger. They only have 1 amulet effect. Land. They currently have 2, 4, 5, 6 mana. They do have enough for a Titan. Do you have Summoner's Pact? Do you have Titan? They do not have the Mirror Pool, so they can't copy Titan, which is good. 3. Or not. Three. 4. Oh, they're Spelunking. That's fine. Lotus Field, actually, if they drew Lotus Field, T-West, fine. That's only 4 mana. Four, Scape Shift. Scape Shift would be bad. Don't do it. Don't do it. Please no. That's all I'm gonna say to that. Please no. Oh no. Shit. That's a problem. Blade trigger. If I had played this a bit differently, I would have had 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So then I would have used 3, generate 2, would have had 3. So I then would have had 3, play Blade, down to 2, plus 3, up to 5. Or down to 2, up 3, up to 5. So I no matter what, I wouldn't have been able to play the All Is Dust this turn. Or last turn, rather. Always yield. At this point, I'm going to force them to play it out. T-West. T-West for Pact. Amulet. Okay. They still only have an equivalent of 1 amulet effect. Okay, they have 2 now. I stand corrected. Pact. Wait, why'd you just have those sitting in your hand? I guess they must have drawn into them. Aftermath Analyst. This is an interesting choice. Yes. Okay, so I'm wondering, because I only got trigger 4. I would have gotten an additional how many if I would have held back? the blade. Instead of 4, it would have been 6. It would have been 3 times 3 would have been 9. So it would have been 5 more. They still would have been at 3 is the problem. Yeah. So we didn't have a lethal line, even if I held back the blade for after the flesh rake. But I still think that may have been right in retrospect. Just holding back the blade a turn. I mean, we're going to make them go through it all. Because now what they're going to have to do is pick up T-West again and pact for a Titan. They're going to want to keep... And at this point, I'm just going to, once it passes back priority to me, always yield intent of the turn. Always yield intent of the turn. Only thing I don't want to yield to is a Beseiju, basically. I haven't presented a lethal line yet. Tap for Simic Growth. I need to keep the Mirror Pool untapped and on the field. They need to pick up the T-West with one of the bounce lands. They can sack everything else. Yield until the turn. Until the turn. Still until the turn. Because they're going to have to use the... whatchamacallit? The Titan as a bridge. Until the turn. Until... No, okay. Oh, because they're still priority. Yep. Until the turn. And they only have 3 minutes on the clock. They have not presented a lethal line, and I'm not sure if they can really find one either is the thing. If last game was anything to go off of. Not last game, but game 1. And there's the pact. Pact resolves. There's the Titan. Titan resolves, trigger. So you need a shifting woodland to go through the Aftermath Analyst line. You can also copy Titan. There's Shifting Wood, there's the Handweaver Battlements. We have plenty of blockers, so if that's what it takes, I will just block all out. With the exception of my spawn tokens, because we do want this all as dust. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so I can block with 1 token if needed. Because it's clear to me they don't have Dryad Arbor, not Dryad Arbor, Dryad of the Elysian Grove and Valakut line. Because I think if they did, they would have gone for that earlier. Well, maybe not, but I don't think that's a line that that Titan has available to it as much anymore. So Echoing Depths, Cruel Turf for Mirror Pool. Let's see if they click correctly so it puts the Amulet of Vigors on the stack. Yes. If you can can tap it one time. It'll untap. Or not. They can continue to miss that trigger where they could let it untap, or they can tap it one more time to untap. That's a pretty consistent thing that they seem to miss. For one reason or another. We can currently intercept 7 damage. So they're going to need 27 trample damage. Okay, you're hasting 1 Titan. But in order to haste any more, you're going to have to go through the Aftermath Analyst line. They're not? Do you have a Kessig Wolf run? I wonder if they don't notice the Allah's Dust. Beseju and Simic Growth Chamber. Okay. That is fine. You'll pick up Otawara. I'll take the 6. Down to 14. End step. Return all his dust to hand. Forest. And that should be the game. All right, we got there. Yeah, if someone demonstrates that like they truly understand a deck inside and out, like I'll concede a lot earlier than that. Though I try and keep it to like show me that you have a lethal line, because there's very few decks that are truly deterministic. There are some that just truly are, and once I see the loop starting to go, I'm like, okay, cool, let's not belabor the point, let's just concede. But until you present me a lethal line, I'm gonna keep you on your toes. But that said, we got there. We'll be back for match 3. All right, and we're back for match 3 on the play for game 1. We have a payoff, ramp, and a way to search. We have 8 hits off the top. I'll take it. Forest. I actually should have probably won Prismatic Vista, but we can do so next turn. And pass. And pass. Bobble. Bobble target me. Street Wraith. Flooded Strand. Fetch. Watery Grave Shock. Thoughtseize. I imagine the 2 choices are Flesh Rake or Rumble. If they take the Flesh Rake, I imagine they have a Force for the Rumble. If they take the Rumble, I imagine they have removal for the Flesh Rake. It would be my guess, yeah. Draw. And draw. 'Tis a waste. I will Prismatic Vista, fetch. Or not? I mean, they don't have a Force. I guess they could have a Subtlety. That'd be weird, though. Subtlety of the Glane Flesh Rake? I mean, it's a choice. But that would be a clear indication they don't have removal. The nice part about Halfling, I can make Ugin uncounterable in this matchup. The Street Wraith kind of throws me off, as does the Bobble. Like, my first guess, if they just would have went Fetch Thoughtseize, would have been Murktide or Oculus, but the Bobble Street Wraith make me question that. So now I'm not sure. Huh. I was thinking, or maybe they're hardly thinking. Possible that's when it came up, so we'll be back once they decided if they want to let this Prismatic Vista resolve. Alright, and we're back. Prismatic Vista and Flesh Rake. And pass. And pass. They know about our entire hand, right? Down to 10. Is this... I was just about to say, is this Death Shadow? And sure a frickin' enough, it is Death Shadow with flying. Wild. Okay. Okay, well, that, be honest, was not expecting that. Want to know something really funny? I'm gonna shrink Death Shadow. Actually, do I even want to play the Agatha Soul Cauldron? As funny as that is? Do I want to? I don't know if I want to. I think I just shrink the Death Shadow. And then pass. Yeah, I think I just do that. I don't want to deal them damage. I want to give them life. Polluted Delta. Fetch. Shock. I'll take the 10 down to 9. Another Death Shadow. Another one? Jesus Christ! Well, okay. I shrink your Death Shadow. I shrink your Death Shadow. I pass the turn. Weird. I need to draw into one more Grove of the Burn Willows. Oh, they have the... Imagine if they didn't have the 2 polluted deltas. Fatal Push, yeah, you got it. You didn't even need to do that. You had the flying. Death Shadow. Would not have expected that. Lost for game 1. Yeah, you got it. Okay, so yeah, basically, Grow the Burn Willows, we play it immediately, we start getting them life immediately. What in the world? Dismember? Do we bring Dismember in? Cut an Ugin, cut an Emrakul? Actually, cut a Gemstone first. Bring back an Emrakul. Keep dropping Ugin. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it like this. Okay. What a weird, weird game. Like, short of the All's Dust, I really don't have much recourse. On the play for game 2. Means a K Command X2. And we have a Devourer. So yeah, we'll keep. I think we will tuck the Emrakul and hold back the Allah's Dust and Devourer. I do fear a Thoughtseize, admittedly. Yeah, Thoughtseize would be pretty bad. Oh, that would have been so funny if I played that Grove of the Burn Willows earlier. Just destroy all their Death Shadows by gaining them life would be so funny. Looks like opponent may have stepped away again, so once more, we'll... Oh, no, never mind. They mulligan down to 6. Maybe it was a rather contentious opening hand. Maybe they're worried about the Grove of the Burn Willows. We'll have to find out. Trigger. I mean, they're... Ooh. Basking Broodscale and Blade. I mean, Blade is a turn 1 play. It leaves us with 3 Basking Broodscales. Alright, let's grab a blade. I will imprint the Emrakul. And pass. And hold. Just on the off chance it's relevant. Cycle Street Wraith down to 18. Blue to Delta and holding. Okay. No Thought Seeds, which is good. E-Temp. I'll pass and hold. Blue to Delta. Undercity Sewers. And pass. Watergrave Shock. Nethergoyf. And Illness in the Ranks. Huh. Well, ain't that cute? That is awkward, because, yeah, I can't K command X2 anymore. I mean, I still can. I still will, in fact. I'll Scry Draw Exile, but it means I can't play like an All is Dust or Devour next turn. Rude is what that is. Walking Ballista, another blade. We don't need an... well... another blade actually wouldn't be a horrible thing. I'm going to say nope to blade, but yes to ballista. And pass. And draw. Aggie Soul Cauldron. X equals 2. And pass. Yeah, so the thought here is that if we can get the blade on the ballista, we can just make it into a machine gun. Tease froge. Tease an Emrakul. I have a Soul Cauldron. Blade of the Bloodchief. Equip Blade of the Bloodchief. And I'll pass. Actually, I do wonder if I should... I can wait until they fetch the Floodstrain, actually. They don't. That's peculiar. I mean, we have the Ballista Machine Gun online. Street Wraith, yes. Draw a card. And I probably should have ripped the other Street Wraith out. Yeah, in retrospect, I should have played that more aggressively. In response to Street Wraith, I should have eaten the other Street Wraith. There's no reason not to. Fatal Push. I mean, at this point, I remove a counter. Stubborn Denial. I will remove a counter. Oh no, that doesn't matter at this point, so we'll just ping you then. Yeah, I could have gotten them to pitch one more card. Could have been worth it. Draw. 4 types in yard. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got the Soul Cauldron, target Fatal Push. Draw. Prismatic Vista. Vista Fetch. For a waste. 2, 4, 5, 6, 6, 11. 2 Shroud of Emrakul. Flooded Strand Fetch. Watery Grave Shock to 9. Yeah, like I said, should have gotten the pitch one more card. That is on me. Pitch for Frog. Hit. I'm a bit worried about like a Murktide, so I'm going to get rid of the Stubborn Denial. Draw a card, 4 in hand, and Frog, land. Problematic. 2, 4, 6, yep. And passing. I would really like a land here, friends. Pitch a Mockingbird. Down to 9. Up to 4. Flooded Strand. Frog. End step. Target Flooded Strand. Dismember. Seriously? 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I have nothing now. We'll concede. That is unfortunate. Alright, well, it is what it is. Sometimes win some, sometimes lose some. I think, like I said, the only difference was I could have gotten the pitch more card, but we would have ended up in a very similar position as we are now. So, I'm not sure it would have mattered much. Alright, well, we'll be back for match 4. Alright, and we're back for match 4. On the draw for game 1. I will keep, I will reveal, I will pass. Marsh Flats. Passing trigger. I mean, there's the Glaring Flesh Raker. Yes, we will go with Flesh Rake. Ugin Lab. Imprint Devourer. Cast Aggie Soul Cauldron. And then pass. So we're just missing the other half of the engine. So we have 4 hits on top. Shadowy Backstreet. There's Felia. Bolt to 16. Overlord of the Belmerk. Maybe not. What is this? Prismatic Ending. I'll exile the Felia. But, okay, yeah, I was about to say. It said X equals 1. I was like, that seems wrong. Draw. Grove of the Burn Willows. Prismatic Ending. Forest. Tempted the Glaring Flesh Rake here. No, I'll Rumble. No Blade. We do find an Emrakul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we'll go Emrakul. Alternatively, if we go Temple off 5, 6, 7. Actually, I think we go Temple. We'll go Temple after all. And pass. And pass. And bolt. 6 types in yard. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we've been too short. 3. Catchermos resolves. And pass. Draw. Another E-temp. Flesh Rake. Broodscale. Trigger. Always yield. Always yield. ETB. And pass. 2, 4, 5. So we actually could go Devour to exile the Catchermos rather than the All is Dust. I think we do that so we can pressure the board. Relic of Progentus. Yes. Relic target me. Trigger Catchermos. Exile the Emrakul. Catchermos is online because the Devour is tucked. Plays Solitude. Solitude exiles. Nope, before I even get to that point. Evem. Evem trigger Catchermos. So I'm thinking about just going All is Dust then. So Broodscale down. Catchermos trigger. Catchermos trigger. Solitude. Fleshraker down. Catchermos trigger. Down to 9. Gala Shrine. Tapped. 2, 4, 5, 7. Yes. Fatal Push. In response, no legal targets. So we'll still have 7, but I won't be able to hold the lab back, unfortunately. Up to 13. And draw. Prismatic Vista. You could thin. Yeah. Guess I could do that, but let's go E-temp and dust. Goodbye, Catchermos. And pass. And a rebound. 2, 4, 5, 6. Next turn we do have Devourer. White black for Overlord. Overlord the Bailmerk will resolve. There's Flicker Wisp. Do you have a land? As we do, you can land Flicker. I'm hoping you grab the Flicker Wisp but don't have a land, because if that's the case, then we can exile the Overlord. Chooses Ketramos. Relic. And passing. Trigger. Draw. Basking Broodscale. I'm tempted now not to go for the Devourer, because I kind of want to Ketramos down. Ketramos is genuinely difficult to deal with. At the same time, what's worse, the Ketramos, where we have an additional, I mean, Ugin's out, so we have 1, 2, 6, 6, 10, 10 ways, but we're missing, I guess actually 12 ways, we're missing 3, so 9 hits, 8 hits off the top. Deal with Ketramos versus we could go the Broodscale, and if we draw into a Blade, we have a lethal line on board. If they have a way to flicker the Overlord, we're in trouble. You know about the Ketramos, but we're missing 2. Fine, we're gonna go Basking Broodscale. It's our best bet for a potential lethal line. Paying cost, Relic, XL Yard. Okay. Do I want to adapt now? There's no real reason to, so I'm just gonna hold. Alright. Not sure why they would do that. Maybe they were worried about Emrakul? That wouldn't make sense, though. Four cards in hand. Yeah, because now they don't have access to the Solitudes in Yard. Weird. Ugh. Flicker Wisp target Overlord. I was worried about that. End step. Trigger. I'm gonna adapt now while we are at it. Should have actually done that before it flickered, because they could. Oh no, I mean, fail to push would work either ways. Always yes. Always yield. Trigger. Another Flicker Wisp, Emperor Bones. Returns Flicker Wisp. Two, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Do we have another Emrakul? We do. And if we drew into a Malevolent Rumble, there is a world where we want Ugin Lab with Devour still tucked. I'll pass. Draw. Blade. Well, that is interesting. I mean, I think I try for it, right? Cast Blade. Equip Blade. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Trigger 1. Always yield. So I can actually make the Basking Broodscale and the Spawn infinitely big for all intent and purpose. I can then cast the Devour to exile the Overlord. And with that, we would have lethal. Yeah. So this should be a lethal line. Unless they have a way to interact. Ephem. Ephem triggers. So let's hack again. So no longer have that line available to me. At this point, no reason to go overboard. We'll just simply let the Flicker Wisp trigger resolve. Return Devour to hand. Cast Devour or target Overlord of the Bailmerk. And we'll equip the blade to, let's say, Devour. And no reason to go Grove the Burn Willow. I guess actually there is. We could adapt. We'll pass. Rebound. You know they have Ketramos in hand. And I think a Flicker Wisp as well. Forget it, what else they did grab. Trigger. There's no reason for us to adapt the Broodscale right now. I guess this does mean I can't make 2 infinite creatures. I can only make 1. But whatever we draw at the top, we can cast without issue. If we find a payoff, we win. So that's Ballista, that's... whatchamacallit? Ballista, Fleshraker, K-Command. And all this does would work as well, which we have 1 of. There's Ketra. Relic target self to draw a card. Trigger, draws. Relic. Relic target self. Trigger draws. Yep. Fatal push. Unearth. What in the world? Yeah. That was unexpected, I'll give you that. Ketramos trigger, draws. Alright, well, at this point, I guess there's no reason not to adapt. If they have a Solitude, they have a Solitude. Witch Blessed, 3 cards in hand, end step. Cast Basking, or activate Basking Broodscale. Always yield. I guess I can't select always yes. Trigger. That is unfortunate. Target Basking Broodscale, pay 1. So always yes. So again, we now have an infinitely big Broodscale. So we'll just push it to, let's say, 2020. And we'll equip the blade to the Devourer. I don't need to make any more mana, do I? Equip the Devourer. Go to combat. So you have to block the 2020, and we have at least an 8/8 on board. Yes, this is fine. We'll pass and pass. I guess I should have re-equipped the Basking Broodscale for all intent and purpose. Trigger Ketra. Ketra basically needs to stay to protect from the Basking Broodscale. At this point, we're just kind of just sitting. Flicker Wisp. Target. Why target the Broodscale? That seems wrong, right? Because now I can readapt. That seems weird to me. Okay. Confused. Kaya. Oh, exile the blade. Huh. Is Kaya the fresh new tech in Blink? Alright, well, there's a 2/2 Broodscale. Ain't doing jack with that. Well, I mean, it's a good thing you did that at the same time. Exile the Ketra. Go to combat. Attack you. They block. Lethal is on board. I should have held up a green source, admittedly. And we'll pass. Another Ketra, for God's sake. Well, I mean, I guess the bright side is they have to block the 10/10 Devourer, right? Because they can go up to 16. If they block the Broodscale, they take 16. I guess Kaya can exile a card and gain 2, in which case then I can only attack with both Devourers. And we'll hold back the Broodscale. Kaya is interesting, though. 4 cards in hand. At the very least, they can trigger Ketramos once. Yeah. They can trigger Ketramos. I guess they can trigger Ketramos multiple times. There's Emperor Bones. Guess you can grab a Flicker Wisp, Flicker the Devourer, yeah. That would put me behind again, which kind of sucks. Yep, there's the Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp will flicker the Devourer, that's a 10-10. Yep. And you can even do that on, well, I mean, you don't want me to attack. If I attack, no, I don't think I want to attack, actually. You could do it on, so what they should have done, they should have done it on their end step. That way at least it was there as a blocker. Well, I guess now it does get 2 Ketramos triggers, for what it's worth. So you have 2 6/6s, blockers. Oh, there's the Solitude, so that hits the Devourer. Yeah, so now Ketramos can swing in without much issue. We need an All Is Dust, is what I need now. Either that or an Ugin. Emrakul would be okay. No, it wouldn't. Never mind. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, never mind. 10 at most. Triggers. Draw. 'Tis a halfling. Play the halfling. And we pass. I guess Kai can exile it for what it's worth. Eh. I feel like they're trying to get to the ult instead because they can deal me 15 damage. There's an Overlord of Baelmerk. Why not just cast it at this point? You're gonna grab a Solitude. I guess you could grab the Flicker Wisp. Yeah, same idea. Same amount of mana, more power on board, right? That's fair. You do need to be a bit careful. Another Solitude. Solitude target Devourer, I'd imagine. Yes. Up to 20, or actually up to 30. That is not a May ability. You're down to 11 cards in deck. Kaya minuses target halfling, down to 10 cards in deck. I don't think there's a benefit to adapting here right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, there's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Tis not. There's an Overlord of the Baelmerk. Do you just go for another Solitude? Didn't even see what he grabbed. Grabbed Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp target Overlord of the Baelmerk. Triggers. 5 cards. Down to 6. Emperor Bones. It is a May ability, you don't have to. Chooses not to. Smart. To combat. I'll take the 8 down to 22. End step. Flicker Wisp. You know what? I'm gonna adapt. Yes. Overlord of Baelmerk. Do it. Use the ability. You are playing a dangerous effing game. Return Solitude. Waste. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We are short 3. We'll pass. So you're suggesting you can kill me in 2 turns. Fatal Push. Resolves. You can't Solitude anymore. And I don't think you can win. Push? Okay. I'm still at 22. 8, 12. Pass? Am I crazy? Like, that last Overlord trigger they just should not have used, period. 5, 8, 12, 16, 16 down to 6. Overlord trigger. Delighted Halfling. Cast the Halfling. Pass. Draw step. Win. Okay. And for game 1. My opponent's had a significant time disadvantage too. So, and we're going to be guaranteed going to a game 3. Why big preview? Did I press buttons? I must have. I don't want it. How I get stopped? No. Control? No. I don't know. I turned something on. You want Dismember in at least. So bring Dismember. Jesus. Bring Dismember in. We'll cut the. Agatha Soul Cauldron actually is looking pretty bad. I'll drop the Aggie Soul Cauldron. Thief can hit Relic. Right? Like, it can hit Relic, but that's about it. But unfortunately can't hit the Overlords. I guess again, Kaya. Yeah, you know what? Alright. I sold myself on that one. I will cut... I think Ugin, Emrakul, and the Flesh Rake. Actually, I kind of want to trim the Ballista instead there. All's Dust is good. Yeah, we'll do it like this. Maybe I can disable whatever I turned on. Like, I definitely turned on, like, magnification. I want to say it might be in, like, the game settings. In dual settings. No, I don't see it. Input settings, display settings. Disable hover zoom. I do have disable hover zoom. But hover zoom seems to have turned on. Input settings. Toggle. Look at face down. Remove all yields. Pass. Nope. Manual zoom. Z. Z. Learn something new every day. Okay. We submitted our deck list. Good. Yeah, I must have done that when I was trying to control Z mana back. All right. Excuse me. I also think they should have been plussing that Kaya a lot earlier because they could have killed me with it. We have 1/2 of the engine. That's kind of about it. So we have 4 hits off the top. 4 hits off the top. K Command X2, so 8. Malevolent Rumble 11. Yeah, fine, we'll keep it. Was initially thinking about it, but I think I will. Eventually we can go Grove. Opponent asked me, and I'm sorry to laugh, opponent, if you do watch this video. They asked, how did I win that game? Or more specifically, how did you win that game? And I just go, you decked yourself. No, I was wondering if you had a way out. All good. We've all been there. Bum just goes, too many beers. Alright, let's go over the Burn Willows and play Delighted Halfling. Yeah, I find that is something that a lot of people don't do, and I think it's very easy to not do in on Moto, is paying attention to their deck count. It is very easy to be like, oh, I'm just going through the motions. I have more cards in my deck. Versus like in paper, of course, you know, you have something physical that you're looking at. You might not know the exact number, but you at the very least do know that it's, you know, going down, right? Oh crap, there's no reason not to. Please attack. Yeah, I mean, this is why I always say, like, it's always good to practice both online because of availability, but also just for sheer, you know, to make sure you still have the muscle memory to also practice in paper, even if it's just goldfishing. I think it is an important habit if you're playing competitively. There's the Overlord. There's the Flicker Wisp. But they're going to Felia target the Overlord anyways. So 2, 3, 4, 6. There's the Overlord. They whiff. Huh? Oh, or Planeswalker. Okay. Okay. So this is 6. I mean, we're looking at Allah's Dust next turn. No attacks. And passing. I mean, I guess they can play the Kaya. They can exile the Blade. Prismatic Ending. Yep. Not much to do about that. Felia Flicker the Delighted Halfling. Overlord trigger. There's Solitude. I guess we could at least get the Solitude out of hand with the Devourer. That is a thought. Bog. Because we know they have the Kaya. Draw. Thief. Could hit Kaya. I guess the one thing that I do fear here at the Devour is a Flicker effect, or not a Flicker, but an Ephem. So you know what? We're gonna go for Allah's Dust instead. I was thinking about holding, but I think this is right. To play around a Ephem. Puts 3 types in a yard, so we're at 10, 11. We'll pass. They play the Kaya, we can Thief. If they Ketra, we have Devourer. Draw. Prismatic. Exile Ketra. Prismatic Vista. 3, 10, 11, 12. I'm gonna hold just to play it safe, because I'm kind of thinking about White Orchid Phantom. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but we're just gonna hold. Solitude. So you have an Ephem. It's a little bit of a waste, right? Like, yeah, you get the Ephem, but We go up 6. They're just trying to race us down at this point, right? Rebound. Hit us for 3 down to 13. You're up to 19. The Kaya actually would be a really good call here, as you could get rid of 3 types in my yard. Ketra. End step. Fetch. So we know about Kaya in hand. I'm going to grab a forest and draw. So 4, 5, 11, 12, 13. Our turn, comrade. Flicker Wisp, Overlord the Bailmerk, Flicker Wisp. Well, that's awkward and annoying. So right now, Ketchamos can't do much. The problem is that Flicker Wisp, while you can Flicker Wisp, Flicker the Solitude, then... Yeah, this is actually kind of frustrating no matter how I cut it. I can slam Solitude into Emrakul. I can Overlord. Okay, I think I see at least a way to make things complicated for them. Or actually, hold up. Kaya. Up to 2 target cards from a single library. Okay, yes, this works. So we're gonna go to main. Gonna go to combat. Attack with Solitude. I'm gonna go to blocks. A block. I guess alternatively I can just exile their entire yard with the bog. The only downside to doing that is the fact that, well, maybe it's not a bad idea. Like, it turns on the Ketra. It also gets rid of the 2 Felias in here, in addition to the Solitude. So, I mean, that's a thought. Otherwise, we can Kaya. And we can just deal with the Kaya. Yeah, let's do that. I will cast Kaya. There's 2, 5. So I only want to get rid of the Solitude then. I'm only going to get rid of the Solitude. It does unfortunately trigger Ketra. Draw a card. Trawler. I will play Trawler and Bolt. No reason to do anything else, though. Yeah. We'll pass. And pass. It just makes it more difficult for them to deal with the Emrakul. Hoping that was the right line. So they overload the Bailmerk now. They dig. Finds a Solitude. Grabs the Solitude. They have the Flicker Wisp. They can Flicker Wisp target Overlord, and then they can Solitude the Emrakul. That will allow them then attack with the Ketra. Yeah. Yep. So we're up to 25. Ketra attacks. 1 card in hand, and then Flicker Wisp. Oh no, they're short. They tapped incorrectly. Yeah. And draw. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is 7 exactly. So, I mean, we can just exile the Ketra. They have the Flickerwisp, that's fine. Ugin. Ugin exiles Ketra. Draw. Gain 3. Does a waste. We pass. There's Felia. That's fine. Ugin's going to be quite the pain here. And then we'll be able to thief the Kaya. And exile probably the Overlord, the Baelmerk. Yeah. Us not having to deal with the Overlord is pretty significant. So them mistapping the lands was very good for us. Keep in mind, this is game 2, so even if we were to go to a game 3, the time deficit that they're at, I think would get them. So I think we're in the clear, but I mean, we're still going to play to win game 2. Kaya. Interesting. Why Kaya there? When you hit me to 19, sure. They're just trying to race to the bottom. Felia, attack, flicker, Overlord. But if you're going to do this and you're going to attack the Ugin, why ult the Kaya? Here's the Overlord. I guess you can grab back Kaya for what it's worth. There's Emperor Bones, but grab Solitude. Okay. Ugin plus. Draw. Devourer of Destiny. Ugin target. Devourer target. Do you have an Ephem? Bone scoops it up. We got there. All right. Good stuff. Well, with that said, we'll be back for match 5. All right. Enter back for match 5 on the draw for game 1. I mean, we keep. This is pretty good. We have both pieces of the engine. We have Devourer, which can find a finisher, and if not, then we have Devourer or Emrakul. This is also, I believe, a turn. No, it's not a turn 2. It's looking like a turn 3. Because we need to play the Blade on 1, Broodscale on 2. I guess we could hold the Broodscale. No, we can't. We'd have to play the Broodscale on 2, yeah. Devourer and pass. Mort. Surveil. Trigger. Okay, actually, never mind. This is a turn 2. So we go Walking Ballista. Draw. Ugin Lab. Blade of the Blood Chief. And this is one of the things that Ugin's Lab actually does enable, because this is a turn 2 now, because we can play Broodscale, we can equip 0, and it's a turn 2 Emrakul. It's pretty good. Like, it's not game winning, but still pretty good. We draw. Devourer. Trigger. Name Eldrazi. Not the trigger, but name Eldrazi. Green. Equip. Ballista 0. Always yield. Always yes. Always yield. Does opponent scoop? I mean, I don't have the win, But I might as well, because we're going to devour the halfling out, and we're going to cast an Emrakul and have an infinitely big brood scale as well. This right here is why I like Ugin's Lab. Because you can just turn 2 out of nowhere. I do think... Am I on 4 or am I on 3 Ballista? I'm on 3 Ballista. I do wonder if I should go up to 4. I do wonder at times. So I'm going to assume this is Yawgmoth. So we want Dismember. I don't think we want Thief. I guess Grist. But also we want Cage. We kind of want Flute. But we don't have room for everything. So what's the most important thing in this matchup? What can we cut? We can keep the Dust. We can cut Ugin, cut Emrakul, cut Fleshrake, cut Ballista, cut a Cauldron. We can probably... Maybe we actually want to keep the Cauldron. Maybe drop the Thief? I mean, hitting Grief is not Grief, jeez. Grist is not bad, but maybe not necessary. Maybe cut the Flute, cause like it's hard for them to actually get things going. And cut a Cauldron. Yeah, maybe you'll do that. Either that or we Flute naming Yawg. I guess Flute's nice because it can name Yawg and can name Grist. Maybe just the Agatha Soul Cauldron's better and you just bring in a couple Thief. Yeah, let's run it like this. Let's keep the Dismember, and maybe Dismember... I'm debating whether or not Dismember's even that great. It might not be. We might actually want to cut the Dismember, bring in Thief, and maybe a couple Cage. Yeah, maybe do that on game 3 if we get that point. We have one half of the engine and a payoff, as well as interaction we'll keep. We are short on lands, though, so we really do need to make sure that the light halfling survives a turn. We draw into a land. I think we have 22 lands, I want to say. Well, it goes down to 6. And they keep 6. Okay. Wooded Foothills, Fetch, 19. Ogre Tomb, Shock, Thoughtseize. Nope, Delight Halfling. Land. Well, now I'm tempted to Bolt the Bird. Bolt the Bird. And pass. Love a 7-mana value spell off top. Without another land. Another land or a 7-mana value spell. We have 9 hits for 7-mana value spells and 20 hits for lands. So 19 hits off top is not bad. A little bit better than 33%. Yawgmoth. Draw. Yee. Ugin Lab. No Imprint. Malevolent Rumble. I'll go with the Temple. Is there a world where we win next turn if we draw into a Broodscale? If I draw into a Broodscale... No. Because we'd need the green. So I'll just hold then. We'll pass. I guess I should hold in case of a Bowmast. Green, green. Oof. Agatha Soul Cauldron. Attack for 1. Yep. They're short on lands then, which is nice. Eldrazi Temp. Blighted Halfling. Blade of the Blood Chief. Equip to the Lighted Halfling. Wonder if they have a force in hand. And we'll pass. We are looking at a Ballista Machine Gun next turn, which is nice. I got the Soul Cauldron, target Halfling, put a +1/+1 counter on Yawgmoth. Yep. Innkeeper resolves. Make a treasure. And draw. Cavern Souls. Name Eldrazi. Actually, how can we make this work? If I go 1/2, equip, trigger. Okay, yeah. So let's go 1/2. X equals 1. Equip. Force of Vigor. Rude as hell. Remove a counter. Target Prosperous Innkeeper. Always yield. Yeah, that is kind of sucky for me now, actually. Now that I think about it. No equip. We'll play another Blade. Well, that is a little bit unfortunate, not gonna lie. Because now, yeah, they basically have Ballista. Ain't that an issue? Target self. Undying trigger. So with this, they basically have infinite life. So let's just say I can't kill you with combat damage unless with a infinitely big creature. Okay, so I'm just going to propose the opponent so we don't have to go through the rigmarole. I should have equipped, actually, funny enough. They still would have been able to get infinite life beforehand. We'll hold. Yeah, so basically we're saying that I can't kill him with combat damage, that unless it's with an infinitely big creature. This looks like it is Yawg. Trigger. So you can ping, you can sack, which is even. So that then should mean that I'm dead. Yes. Okay. I'll concede. So we win, we lose, we go to game 3. Yawgmoth. Yeah, I guess I should have equipped. I didn't think about that. 'Tis unfortunate. Was too focused on the Ballista Machine Gun. Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure about this member in this matchup. Thief seems good, though, because it also hits Aggie Soul Cauldron. Aggie Soul Cauldron's good. Yeah, I think we just keep it like this, then. Yeah, let's do that. on the play for game 3. I mean, if Devourer can find us our other piece of the combo, the other half of the engine, we're good. Reveal. Triggers. It doesn't, but we do find a Rumble, which can dig deeper. Temple, Blade, and pass. And pass. And draw. Prismatic Vista. Fetch. For a forest. Rumble. We do whiff again. I'll grab E-Temp. So we have 6 Eldrazi mana next turn. 3 types in yard. Fetch for a Surveil land. Yes. So I need another temple. I guess another just land for Devourer. Otherwise, next turn we just Ballista X1. Maybe. The Ballista kind of got me killed last time. Thoughtseize to yard. So basically they're saying they don't have a window to cast that. So they have a decent and a decent curve, is what they're telling me. They could go Aggie's Soul Cauldron. If they do, I'm fine with that, because then we can just Thief. Thief of Existence would be good. Treacher's Insight. Halfling, Halfling, Young Wolf, Young Wolf. I imagine you grab a Young Wolf. Yep, there's the Young Wolf. Triggers Insight. Again, that could give them infinite life. So I think we just Thief here then. So yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna cast Thief of Existence. Target the Dredger's Insight. And then we could go Lab to play Ballista. Is that relevant? Because the alternative is that we go Temp. I think we just go Temp and then... Actually, before... Nope. Ugh. Press wrong buttons. I went to press 6, it stopped at combat, and then I went to press 5 and ended up pressing 6. I swear. Spymaster's Vault. Because ideally, if they just play Overlord the Bailmer, well, that was unexpected. There's double Yawg. I imagine you grab Yawg, unless you want to grab the other Young Wolf because you already have a Yawg. Grabs Halfling. Halfling. Trigger. Another Devourer. So I could play Ballista. X equals 2. Equip, sack, ping. I kind of like that line right now. Again, a Force of Vigor would suck here, though. Don't do it, opponent. Not again. Another reason why I should have equipped this to the Thief. That way, if they do, at least we would have gotten 2 triggers, and the Thief would have been a 5/6. Yeah. Ping 1. Ping 2. Always yield. Blade down. And combat. Yeah, they should be at 15. I mean, those 2 points of damage will become relevant. Yeah, they just go Yawg here. We can just devour it. Ugh, of course. So the problem now becomes that, again, they can make infinite life for all intent and purpose. Or rather, infinite triggers. Okay, they messed up then. We'll sack it. Because now we can exile the Yawgmoth. Trigger the Overlord. Draw. Oh, of course, we were 1 turn late. So yes, we'll cast the Devour to exile the Yawgmoth. If they had been a bit more patient, that wouldn't have been an issue. They should be at 10 if I had played this right, which means I would have had lethal on board, whereas I currently don't, right? 4 cards in hand. Yeah, we misplayed by not equipping. I realized that error 2, since we had the open mana, there's no reason for me not to. But by not doing so, it actually could cost us the game. Which is a bit frustrating. If we draw into a Blade, we don't have the win. So I guess we do get another Devourer and an infinitely big Broodscale. Walking Ballista. Okay. Fatal Push. Draws a card. That's a desperate move. Okay, so we wouldn't have had lethal at least. They would have been at 10. So they're currently at a theoretical 4. Paying cost for GSC X1. There's another Yawgmoth. Yes. Draw. E-temp. So they can put a +1/+1 counter on it is the thing at any point in time. So what I'm going to do instead is get another Ballista. That doesn't really change things, does it? Now that I think about it. Because the problem is they can put a +1/+1 counter on it, remove the +1/+1 counter, kill or destroy the Yawgmoth, so it evades the Devour trigger, basically, right? The thing is, me killing the Yawgmoth doesn't do anything because it just will come back with +1/+1 counter that they can remove. Yeah, that's awkward as hell. Yeah, I can't really attack because it just gets a +1/+1 counter. So yeah, I need another Thief of Existence is what I need for that Agatha Soul Cauldron, or a way to exile the Yawgmoth. Halfling trigger, target Yawgmoth. Yep. The next issue is that... Oh no, they can't do that yet. They are close to doing so, though. If they at any point have 2 Yawgmoths, they can basically make an infinitely big Yawgmoth off the Spymaster's Vault. Actually, they can still do that. That's the thing, right? Now they can basically Spymaster's Vault draw their deck. Or at least as many cards as they need. And the Spymaster's Vault is a bit rough. And the Agatha Cauldron grabbing my Ballista was rough too. I mean, they already had another Ballista, so it was kind of a moot point. But that does make it complicated. So, they don't have a way to gain life, which is relevant. Because they can remove a counter from Yawgmoth, ping me. But every time they sack the Yawgmoth, they lose a life. So unless they find a way to gain life, they don't have the win yet. Yes. So we're okay right now. They could dig. Did they play a land? They played a land already. Yes, that will yield. I'll yield that. So, in response, I'm going to ping 1. Ping 2. Ping 3. This way you don't draw a card. Now at this point we pass in full. There's nothing more for me to do. But you can only draw 9 more cards, basically. Next turn we can devour the Yawgmoth for what it's worth. We're still stuck in this really awkward position then, is the problem. Where this Yawgmoth is basically unbeatable. Because it's just, it can block for reasons. Basically, kind of just works as cat oven, right? It can block and then come back. Yeah. Why do I feel like I didn't see people, like, using this tech for Yawgmoth before? Yeah, 4 more draws. Well, I guess now you can't really continue because... No, can you? Sacrifice a creature, put on up to 1. No, I guess you can, and draw a card. So I guess you can, you just wouldn't be putting in -1/-1 counters. You can still go 3 deeper. The question is that worth it? I think they also forgot to tap the Yawgmoth for mana, which would have been relevant. The reason there being is if they drew into a halfling or a Dredger's Insight, then they would have had the infinite life. Well, now that's just rude. That is just rude. Draw. Huh. So if I go colorless green, the problem is they would be able to sack. If I do it this way, they'd be able to ping, attempt to sack, ping. So I think I do need to play the Cauldron first. Cauldron. Because this now stops the Yawgmoth from looping. Now I can play the Broodscale. And I can at any time adapt it. There's no reason to adapt it right now, however, right? No. The problem is that they will get this overload of the Bailmerk next turn. Wonder why they wouldn't use their Agatha Soul Cauldron. Rude. I'll adapt. Green. Colorless. Adapt. At least that way we have a blocker. Always yes, always yield. And you can ping the spawn for what it's worth. Fetches Verdant Cat. I mean, if I just find a Ballista. Rude as hell. I guess we grab their Ballista. Give me your Ballista. Targets their own Ballista. We pass in full. I guess not pass in full. So basically, they grab their own Ballista. Abrupt Decay comes through. Sack in response and pass in full. Yeah, I think they have this one. Yeah, it's very interesting. I have this little Cauldron plus Yawgmoth and Ballista is actually pretty dangerous. Okay. Target itself. So basically, okay. So here's what they're doing. They're basically going to do this 10 times. They're then going to Spy Master's Vault, targeting Yawgmoth, connive 10. They're going to draw 10 cards, pitch 10 cards, and then put 10 counters on Yawg. So this is a lethal line. They probably don't go 10 exactly, because 10 alone would maybe not guarantee that they would hit all the right cards. So I'm going to force them to go through because it is not deterministic, but I'm doubtful that they have, like, I don't know, 18, 19 lands in their deck. I'd be very surprised if that were the case. But there is a realm of possibility to where they don't have the exact number to win. Though I guess actually, no, it's not even relevant, because as long as they hit 12 As long as they hit 10, because then it's going to get counters and Ballista will be able to... Yeah, never mind. Never mind. That's the game. Because then they'll do this. I guess they can target the Yawgmoth. I think they should have just targeted a Yawg. But as long as they get 12 counters on it, they can remove those 12 counters. I guess even just 9 counters, because they can put me down to 10, and they already have 1 on it. So yeah, as long as they have 9 non-land permanents, right? Is that how it works? How does connive work? I'm pretty sure it's... But it's non-land pitches. It's land pitches, I don't think it gets a counter, if I remember correctly. That is 12, I'll concede. You got it. Okay, this is a really interesting matchup. It's 2 creature combo decks, but because of how they both function in a round with Eye of the Soul Cauldron and Ballista, it makes it very nuanced. Like, okay, should I play my Ballista? Interesting. Interesting stuff. I mean, we got blown out twice by Force of Vigor. Can't really do much about that, I suppose. Sometimes you just have to play it, and it did not work in our favor. But overall, I still think that was a pretty decent league. While, yes, we did end the league with a 5-2 record, I would say the results were still pretty good. Our main losses were to the Mirror Match and Basking Broodscale, which came down to a pretty thin margin. We won against Amulet Titan, lost against a Rogue Death Shadows deck, won against Blink, and then lost against Yawgmoth. Yeah, I mean, overall, I think we played that pretty well. Was it this game with the Thief of Existence where I misplayed? It was. I guess one thing that would have made a difference is if I had gotten that extra 2 damage in... Would it have made a difference? If I got the extra 2 damage in, they would have been at 1. Did we attack twice with Thief or once with Thief? I want to say twice, because yeah, they would have been at 10. So that may have actually mattered. Unfortunately, that my misplay by not equipping Thief with Blade of the Blood Chief, I think, did come back to bite us. Unfortunate. Alright. Yeah, because they would have been at 10. And with the extra 4 damage, at least as of right now, a -1. Now, could they have played around that? Possibly. So it might not have mattered in the long run, but still unfortunate regardless. That said, that there will be the end of today's video. As always, if you did enjoy it, please do consider hitting the like button. Comment down below if you did see any lines that I missed, any mistakes that I made, or any general feedback. It is always appreciated. For as much as I hope that you all learn from me in both my success and failures, I hope I can learn from you all as well. Last but not least, if you have reached this point in the video and haven't already, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, as we're getting closer and closer to our next goal of 1,000 subscribers. At which point, I'll be able to start monetizing these videos, which will allow me to start saving up towards a streaming PC, so I can stream live over on Twitch. In the meantime though, if you do want to support me monetarily, you can do so over my Patreon, where you can get early access to my YouTube videos, as well as any updates I make to my deck guides. With that said, I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye!